It's intercepted. Shaquille Griffin makes an incredible play. Coleman looks out of the gun, runs the option, keeps it. He is into the end zone for the Knights touchdown.
Welcome to Knightline Postgame Live. When the clock expires, we go live. Knight Nation's only post-game call-in show goes live now.
All right, hello Knight Nation. This is Andrew Phegley coming to you from Burger U, and this is Knightline Postgame Live. We're live this afternoon from Burger U on the campus of UCF. Trace right now is getting some men's basketball sound, and he should stop by a little later on. He's going to do a little interview over there at the arena where UCF basketball should be just finishing up a game against William and Mary. But what we're really here to talk about is a football win over Temple, 45-19. It's all good, 10-0 for UCF football. Unbelievable. I know a lot of people were a little bit worried about this game. I wasn't so worried about the game, to be honest with you. You know, you can get into these trap situations, and, you know, that can happen. But I don't think that was, you know, I never really thought that was going to happen today. I thought that Temple, you know, it was shock and awe from our defense today. Again, finally, we've seen shock and awe again from the defense. It's been a little while since we've seen that, but now we're seeing it again, and that's good. So, anyway, 407-401-9184 is the call-in number, 407-401-9184. You can call in now. The phone lines are open. We would love to hear from you and hear what you thought about this game today. Phone lines are open again at 407-401-9184. Give us a call, and we will talk about football. So, yeah, there's nobody here to start it out with me today, which is kind of shocking. I guess there's a lot going on, though, with basketball and football. Maybe after that arena empties over there, it should be over any time, so maybe somebody will come over. I thought we had somebody, but then they left. Well, it happens. But you guys are here with me, hopefully, and somebody should call me, 407-401-9184, and let's talk about the game. Let's go through some stats here real quick, I guess, while we're waiting for a phone call. Mackenzie Milton, 16 of 23 for 208 yards. He only played the third up until the third quarter, until they put Noah Vetterall in. Threw 4 touchdowns today, averaged 9 yards per reception there for Milton. Noah Vetterall, 2 for 5, 46 yards, averaged 9.2, which is kind of interesting, but really nothing. That was just pure garbage time, basically, when Vetterall was in there the whole entire fourth quarter. Otis Anderson led the rushing, 5 carries for 58 yards. Averaged 11.6. Adrian Killens had 10 carries for 30 yards. Mackenzie Milton, 6 carries for 23 yards. Cordarian Richardson got 7 carries for 8 yards. Noah Vetterall, 5 carries for 7 yards. Taj McGowan, 5 carries for 6 yards. And then Dredrick Nelson had 1 for a touchdown, which we've been seeing a little bit of that a little bit more, and I like that. I like getting the receivers in there for a few rushing plays, the reverses, stuff like that. I don't mind seeing that at all. As far as receiving goes, Traquan Smith, 4 receptions for 89 yards and a touchdown, averaged 23.3 on his receptions today. Emmanuel Logan Green got in there for 1 reception, 46 yards. Marlon Williams got in there for a touchdown, 3 receptions, 30 yards. Michael Kubalali, I'm screwing that up again, Kubalali. I can't say it today for some reason. Maybe I said it right at one point there, but 1 reception for 35 yards, which was a great reception right on the line there of the inbounds there for UCF. Otis Anderson, did I say him yet? Otis Anderson, 2 for 18 with a touchdown as well. Gabe Davis, 2 for 16 yards and a touchdown. So 4 touchdowns through the air, 2 on the ground. 45-19 again, like I said, not bad for, what could have easily been a trap game. And we're good with that. So, again, 407-401-9184, 407-401-9184. I guess the big story here today, play of the defense, 4 interceptions. Griffin got 1, Gibson got 1, Clark got 1, and Jasinski got 1. Let's see what we did. I got to look on the other page here. It's team stats. We didn't see a whole ton, I guess. I mean, yeah, I guess the penalties were up there. I didn't really realize it during the game that it was 7 penalties for 55 yards. I didn't think that was – it didn't seem like it was a ton. But I guess, 7 for a little bit more than half of the football field, does add up on the penalties. We've got a lot to talk about here tonight. 407-401-9184, 407-401-9184. I know a few of you guys were calling earlier, and I told you guys to call back, and I know one person was getting on an airplane and all that stuff, so that person's probably not going to be able to call, but... And we have a basketball final score for those that are interested in that. All right, here we got a call. Hey, you're on Knightline. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Matt down in Fort Myers. What's going on,
man? Thank you for calling. What's going on? What do you think of that game today?
Man, I think the defense definitely stepped it up. Man, you can't take anything away from 5 turnovers, and there's no more trap games. There's no more. Thinking about the rest of the season, this is it. And all the listeners, we're all, the loyal Knight Nation here. But if it's a casual listener, there is no reason for you not to be at next week's game, man. This team has played lights out, and Griffin deserves it, man. Out of the work that he's done and everything that he's been through in his life, he deserves a standing ovation with a packed house next week.
Absolutely, absolutely, 100%. He's talking about Black Friday, UCF against the Cows over there from Tampa. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a great environment. Last time I saw, there was only like 79 tickets or something like that left. So, yeah, there's no reason. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's funny to see how far we've come in. It was 2 years ago, the 0-12, and I sat there in the stands, 0-12 on Thanksgiving, getting pecker slapped by USF, and just a short turnaround. And thanks to all the coaches and players and administrators that have done this, because I think like people were, all the fans are last week about UConn. Oh, we didn't play like. Does anyone realize all the distractions we've had this season? Everything that easily could have gone against us has not, because and nothing has been really lucky. Like the Fiesta Bowl year 13, like we got lucky. On a few games in the cardiac nights, things just went our way. But this team, man, we haven't been absolutely perfect. We're not. I don't think we're the number 1 team in the nation, but the hard work and everyone coming together and doing what they're supposed to do, it's like you just can't take that away from anyone.
Absolutely. All of these wins have been decisive wins as well, and I think that's what we need to look at. There haven't been the cardiac nights like we dealt with back then. So it's totally a different thing, and yes, everybody has done an amazing job here, Scott Frost, but every one of those other coaches that are on this the coaching roster as well, and Danny White, done an incredible job to get it this far. Like you were saying, hurricanes we went through. What more adversity can you ask for going through a season like this? Knock on wood. I've got all this sitting on a wood table here, and I'm knocking on wood. Knock on wood, we haven't had injuries. that's one of the things that that's the only other thing I guess would be adverse for UCF is to have injury-plagued season. But luckily, we haven't had that.
There was read some comments and stuff in the watch party, and one of the things that brought up is that Noah has almost played an entire game because they pulled Milton most of the time by the third quarter. We're pulling our starters by the third quarter, and people are like, "Oh, imagine what our stats would be, if we left Milton in." And I said, "Why risk the injury? We're
Absolutely.
up by 20 points."
Yeah, and
give them.
I would love to pad those stats. I mean, I would. I'm just being selfish as a fan, though, wanting those stats padded. but yes, it makes perfect sense when you're ahead by 30 points or whatever. It's time to pull your starters and give them a rest. Those guys need to rest up. You can see a couple people are banged up. I think Killens is still a little bit banged up. He's not doing nearly what he's been doing. So I think that there's an injury there, and they're just being really careful with him, thank goodness. So
why risk it? We got a stable of running backs, and it was funny. I won't say the name, but a former player was at the watch party, and we were hanging out talking about just the different styles and the different. It's night and day. Leary had his, and he was great in some aspects, and just different others. But the one thing I am really seeing is the cameras will always pan over our bench, and we're always active. We're always cheering on. There's so much energy that hasn't. I've been a Knight for 10 years now. I've been graduated for a while, and you never saw that pumping up. You never saw that energy, and I think the team really feeds off that. And I think that's an important part of it. If for take it what it's worth.
Does that bother you at all that's going on the sideline now, or do you like it? Because I've heard mixed feelings about it.
As long as it's not disrespectful toward the other, as long as they're not taunting or not, let them get energized up, man. You got to keep moving, especially today when they're in 50 degrees. I'm a Florida born and raised, man. At 50 degrees, hell no. So if you need to keep energized, you need to keep warm. As long as it's not disrespectful, get your team going.
Absolutely. All right, I agree with you. All right, man, we got a couple callers on the line. Thank you for calling. Greatly appreciate it.
I'll see you next week.
All right, man. Look me up. Charge on.
Sounds good.
All right, so good. We got the phones ringing now. I know there's somebody on hold. My phone system is going to give it to me here in just a second. But in between that, let's play a little commercial. I got to do this. Our great sponsor, Travis Dever. We couldn't do this without him, and we're looking for more sponsors, by the way. So if you've heard that commercial at the beginning of our stuff, please send people our way if you know anybody who wants to help. Back after this.
Hey, this is Travis Dever, Kai's Real Estate, the Dever team, New Smyrna Beach. Your source for real estate and everything else New Smyrna Beach. Proud sponsor of Knightline and Knightline Postgame Live. Call me anytime at 386-690-1636. That's 386-690-1636. Let me show you my hometown, New Smyrna Beach, UCF's favorite beach. Go Knights and charge on.
All right, back to the phone lines, 407-401-9184. Hey, you're on Knightline. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Richard Stone calling from Chandler, Arizona.
All right, Richard from Arizona, thank you very much for calling. What were your thoughts on the game today?
Oh, I just love the fact that it was such a team effort. I mean, all phases of the team seem to be working real good today.
Absolutely, yeah. No real special things on special teams, but the defense was definitely kicking it today, and we're back to the shock and awe defense that I love.
Exactly, and some really great plays. Griffin making that reception, and then Smith, that reception of his was wonderful. I mean, it's just a really great effort.
Absolutely. Who do you think, since I haven't asked this question yet, who do you think was the MVP of this game?
Oh, boy.
I'm putting you on the spot.
Either of those two guys, and Milton has to be in there too. I mean, I had my doubts last year, but you guys were absolutely right. That kid really does have it. He is really good. But I guess I'd have to give it to Shaquem.
Yeah, I think so. Shaquem has had a rough year because everybody is gunning for him. They know that they game plan. I know during the week that these teams, when they're looking at playing UCF, they're watching the film, they're looking at what he is doing, probably more than anybody else is doing, because, you know, you could see it. I mean, he's been taken out of a lot of games because, you know, they've game planned appropriately for him. But this week, obviously, they didn't, and I think that he's getting into his best form now, because in the last couple of games he's really showed up. So I love that kid. I talk about it all the time. I know you people get sick of it. I love his family. I love him. I mean, absolutely. I don't know what we're going to do without those kids here and that family here at UCF. I'm bummed. I'm going to definitely shed some tears next week for Senior Day, but hopefully we can get more people like that. I don't know how many more people there are out there like those people, but hopefully we'll get more of them.
Yeah, we don't get tired of it, really. I mean, he is such a wonderful story. I don't think you can overplay that kid.
Absolutely
One thing
not.
I did want to mention, though, I don't know if this has come up or not, but, you know, I really expect us to move up in the polls. I know last week in the AP and the coaches that we didn't move up rank-wise, but we did move up a lot point-wise. I mean, so, you know, I mean, in the coaches poll, we went from 854 points to 910, and Penn State's only at 912, so we're only like 2 points below Penn State.
Right.
And we went from 736 to 807 in the AP, which put us only 11 points behind Penn State. So I expect some real movement in those two polls this week.
Right. Well, I mean, at some point they have to move us up, because here's the deal: 10-0. I don't care what conference you're in, you know, what kind of competition you play against. It's still football. Everybody plays against, you know, their own competition in their own, you know, conferences and stuff like that. And 10-0 is 10-0, period. You know, there's
I agree.
Only
there
four.
aren't many teams.
Yeah, there's only four undefeated teams still, and we're one of them. So they gotta respect at some point.
Yeah, there aren't many teams that reach 10-0, and I don't think we're happy with that. I know Coach Frost wants us to get this next one, and I know everybody does.
Absolutely. I think we will. I don't think that it's going to be nearly the problem that we think it's going to be. I think it's going to be pretty good. So thank you very much for calling.
Yep. Yeah, I didn't watch all of this USF game on Thursday, but I did watch the second half, and I tell you, they were not impressive at all.
No, and they haven't been, to be honest with you. If you can stop Flowers from running, he's not going to beat you with his arm. He's just not. So you got to really stop him from running, but keep your eyes out for him throwing it, obviously, as well. So, Richard, thank you very much for calling, man. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Andrew.
All right. Go Knights.
Go Knights.
All righty. There are other people waiting on the phone line, so we will get that in another 30 seconds here. I greatly appreciate everybody calling. Again, this is Knightline Postgame Live, and we're coming to you from Burger U. Absolutely awesome that Burger U has let us do this here this year. They have incredible food. They've got, I don't know how many big screen TVs in here. There's a couple projectors, all that stuff. This is a great place to watch a game. They've got cheap beer. They've got wonderful food. Just a great place. So come by Burger U when you're on campus, and even you can make a trip over here to Burger U to eat as well. Thank you very much to Darren from Burger U for letting us do this. Really, really appreciate it. All right, you're on Knightline. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Alan from Fort Lauderdale.
Hey, Alan, how you doing? What's your thoughts on the game today?
Yeah, it was great. Honestly, watched the game. Great game. Love to see the defense get back on track. You know, after giving up 24 points in the last, or 24 points or more over the last 3 games, it's nice to see them have a kind of a shutdown performance, have 4 turnovers. Really nice to see that. And I love the stat that Milton hasn't played in 6 out of our 10 fourth quarters. So another, pretty complete game for UCF. And I'm going to be at the USF game, so I couldn't be more stoked to see a 10-0 UCF squad versus a 9-1 USF. Arguably, I was talking to my friend possibly one of the top 3 or 4 biggest games in UCF history, and it comes against our rival, so I couldn't be more stoked for that.
I honestly would put it a little higher than 3 or 4. I mean, personally, I think that this has to be one of the biggest games, especially because of what it entails as far as, like, where we go from there. I think it's huge. It's absolutely huge. So, I mean, I guess the Fiesta Bowl would be higher just because that was, such a big deal. But I don't know. What would you rank below those, below the Fiesta Bowl? If it's 3 or 4 for you, what would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would have to say probably Fiesta Bowl is number 1, and then I don't know, maybe number 2 is this might be number 2. I don't know if there was maybe maybe the game against South Carolina when we're in 2013 with Bortles, or maybe Penn State game. It was like, or maybe even when Louisville was number 6 in the country, and we upset them when they had Charlie Strong there, just because that kind of clinched the conference for us and clinched really our first ever big bowl game. So maybe one of those, but this is right up there with them. I mean, we could end up looking back and saying this is bigger than that, and this is huge for us to get to the Peach Bowl and finish a undefeated regular season for the first time in school history. It'd be big. I guess my question is, with all these Frost rumors going around, does Frost at least has to stay through the rest of the season, right? He wouldn't leave before the Peach Bowl.
No. And I guys, I think that he's staying. I really do. I mean, he has a perfect situation here. I really think that he's the kind of guy that wants to at least see this first recruiting class through. I really believe that he is that kind of guy that does not want to betray his players. And I wouldn't be surprised. I haven't heard it yet. I guess I haven't asked the right people. But I wouldn't be surprised if he hasn't already addressed the team and dealt with this internally. I mean, I guess if he has, they're keeping it under. I mean, I guess I can make some phone calls and try to figure that out, but I really haven't asked that so far. So I think he's staying, and I hate all of this talk, and I know we have to get used to it because this is going to be what's going on around here if they keep playing like this, and it's a good problem to have, I guess, but I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I don't want to. I don't want to see him go. I guess there's other coaches on this staff that could take over and do a good job. I mean, if we really want to start talking about that, Troy Walters, Chinader, if he doesn't go with him, but you're afraid that he's going to take those people with him when he does go, if and when he does go. So I don't know. I hate it. I hate all of it. All right, man, we got other people.
Thank you.
On the line.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much for calling. I really appreciate it. All right, so yeah, I mean, there's definite distractions. There's definite adversity that this team has gone through. Not as much, during the games as the off season and everything surrounding everything, outside of the actual games is where the adversity has come from. So I really want to see Scott Frost stay here, obviously, but I'm not gonna hold my breath either way. I'm not going to believe what I read on the internet, like this thing that came out last night. Oh, it's close to being done for him to go to Nebraska. I don't believe it. All right, you're on Knightline. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Andrew, this is Manny in Houston. How's it going, man?
Good. How are you? Thank you for calling.
Hey.
Really appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. This time I didn't want to be the first caller like last week, and I thought I'd give everybody a chance to call in first. So, hey, man, great game. We're watching it over here, my wife and kids, and just a great game all around. We're pretty excited to be 10-0, and just an awesome feeling, and excited for the community and all of the fans all over the states, man. What do you guys think?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't get much better than this. I mean, there's really nothing to complain about. We've tried to find things to complain about, but there's really nothing to complain about except, I guess, what we were just talking about with the last caller, this whole Scott Frost, thing. Is he staying? Is he going? Blah, blah, blah. I mean, that's the one thing that we have to complain about, and maybe not being ranked high enough in the polls. That would be the other thing that we have to complain about. But otherwise, honestly, we have nothing to complain about.
I'd agree with you on that. Regarding the game, early start, I thought we were a little bit slow, and I said to my wife when Milton connected with, I forget what receiver it was, we connected for like 50 yards or something. I was like, hey, the offense is gonna pull us through on this one. Turns out the defense would make 4 turnovers, and they, knocked it out of the park. But yeah, certainly we should be higher than 15. I think a lot of journalists believe that too. I don't think this college football committee is looking at our games at all. I don't think they're watching it. And I think that was in part why we had a correction on the rankings this last Tuesday.
Yeah. Well, it's a little bit of Rodney Dangerfield like we were talking. We just can't get any respect,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll tell you that my company is actually based out of Omaha, Nebraska, so I get all kinds of messages from, coworkers and things like that. Say, hey, man, he's coming. And I'm telling you guys, he's not leaving UCF. I don't feel it. I don't think he's going to do it. If anything, he would leave for Florida. And if Chip Kelly goes there, I think we're safe, man.
Yeah, I think if Chip Kelly goes to Florida there, I think it may interfere a little bit with our recruiting. And that could be an issue. But, I don't know. It would be interesting to have, this same offense be run by 2 schools, the exact same offense pretty much. So that could be interesting. Thanks for calling, man.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it.
Hey, man, I appreciate it. And just real quick, since you were talking about the top games, for me it would be Fiesta Bowl, which I was there for, which was awesome. Definitely that Penn State win, Big Ten win was awesome. That Louisville game where we beat Strong, and then after the game he goes and says that the best team didn't win. Can't wait to shove that in his face next week.
Absolutely, yeah. That's something that I didn't really think about. You're right. It could be him saying the same thing in another week. Hopefully,
my wife's not a UCF grad, but she hates him.
Good. I think he's just waiting to get out of there. He's going to move up from there. I think he will be gone before Frost is, personally.
Absolutely.
He'll be moving on again. All right, man. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
All righty. So I guess, that's a good thing. So the rest of the callers, if you want to talk about your top 5 UCF games, since that subject was brought up, I can't wait for this one next week. It's going to be huge around here. I'm going to take one more commercial break here, and then we'll get back to the phones.
Night Nation, now that the football season has started, you're going to need all the tailgating supplies and clothing for the rest of the season. And the best place to get all of your favorite night stuff is Fan Addicts. Please go to our website, UCFNightlinePodcast.com. Click the Fan Addicts logo to find the best selection and best prices for everything you need.
All right, back to the phones. I know that you waited quite a while. Thank you very much. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Andrew, it's Roger from Maryland.
Hey, man, we haven't talked to you in a while. What's going on up there?
Oh, man, it's cold.
Cold in Maryland. That's not good.
You know what's keeping me warm?
What's that?
It's about to be burger time because we're going to eat some cow for dinner
Absolutely,
next week.
Absolutely. I think that may deserve a little cow noise here. You won't hear it, but the rest of everybody else will. There you go. There's a little cow moo for you. I don't know if you heard it or not, but yeah.
I didn't. Go ahead.
What did you think of the game today?
Well, I think this was something we needed to see out of the defense, quite frankly. I mean, I know the second-teamers gave up a late touchdown, but, I mean, at the end of the day, they played fairly well. The safety play, at times was a little out of place, but by and large, great game. I think we did feast a little bit with a new quarterback there for Temple. There, quite frankly, I think we ended up with 5 picks. There should have been at least 2 or 3 more.
Right.
So I think the front line did okay. I think the turnovers set us up for short yardage situations, which is exactly what this is supposed to be. So to me, I think it was a confidence builder for the team and a reminder of who they were at the beginning of the season with the defense, setting up the offense. And, I mean, what do you say about Mackenzie Milton and Otis Anderson? I mean, those 2 are lighting up again this month.
Absolutely, yeah. it was a confidence builder for sure going into this next week. This game is absolutely huge. You've been around for a long time. As far as being a Knight fan, what would you list as your top 5 games or even top 3 games? Because I think this one ranks up there with a lot for next week. A lot of people have been talking about it.
I'll tell you, there's if we're going 5 for me personally, and this may not be everybody else's cup of tea, but for me, I really enjoyed the Texas game when we opened the stadium. That was a huge game, just the feeling, the vibe around the entire campus, having the stadium full like that, and we talked about that earlier this season. But that was up there. I also enjoyed, believe it or not, that USF game in 2013 when we beat them at home. The catch by Perryman was just phenomenal, and Oserite's getting that turnover. I mean, that entire stadium was just down, and we thought we were going to lose, and then the Cardiac Knights did it again.
Right.
The Temple game, honestly, in 2013 as well, and then there was that BYU game. I mean, if you're just talking about a fun game, if you were at that game, just a back and forth at home, that BYU game at home. And then I think it was, I don't know if it was 2 overtimes or 3 overtimes, but that game was just phenomenal. So this upcoming game next week sets up, for the first time, as long as I can recall, the first time that both teams are who they could be and who they should be for a rivalry game. And for the first time, I think everybody recognizes it as a true rivalry game, because in the past it really wasn't that way.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. It has a lot more, going on in it this year. There's a lot on the line. Whoever wins the game wins the East. It has a lot on the line. I mean, 10 wins. It could be 11. I mean, that's gigantic. I was thinking while you were running through your games there, one of my favorite games was that win here against Boston College. That was a sold-out game, I believe, and it was, for me, one of my best memories here, on campus. I think that was definitely one of my favorites. So,
when you're talking about pure emotion, I mean, and for everybody who doesn't remember what that game was about, that was post 9/11, and the bandana game is what I think you're talking about, right?
Yep, that was the one. It was just, It was just a big game. I mean, it had that going for it. It had a great environment. It was a team coming in that, we hadn't really. I don't think we'd ever played Boston College before, unless I'm wrong. And it was a Big Ten team. It was it was a great environment. I remember there was just a great environment.
It was full. It was emotionally charged, and I just remember hearing the stadium. I mean, like you said, I mean, as far from a game perspective, everybody was really into it. There was also there was a lot of respect and somberness, but at the same time, everybody. It was a time when even the Boston College fans and the fans and everybody just came together.
Absolutely.
And that was a unique feeling that college football and sports in general. We talked about all the negativity that's around it and everything else, but there are certain times where you get folks together and you just have that feeling. That was one of those games, and it was a special night, and you're absolutely right to bring that up because it was phenomenal.
I remember that game is probably the longest that I've ever had to wait to get out of the parking garage. It took like an hour and a half to get out of the D garage, or the C garage at that time I was parked in. So
well, if they used the new parking maps that are being utilized now and over the last 2 years, it would have taken you even longer.
I know. It's gotten worse. It hasn't gotten better. You'd think that it would have gotten better, but it definitely hasn't. So
one other thing I just wanted to point out.
Sure.
And after last week, I didn't get to call, but if as a longtime UCF fan, if you think about the progression of our program, of where we've come from, where we've been, and where we are now, 3 of the programs that we're talking about in Temple, UConn, and USF, or I shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry, the Cows. At the time, they were all in the Big East, and at the time we were in Conference USA, and we were looking up and waiting for our invitation or our ticket to the Big Time. this last week, I think we've gotten to a point in our program where, those programs are no longer above us. And people forget in the span of 3 or 4 years how much that's changed.
Absolutely.
We are talking about ourselves in the neighborhood of, we may only be top 15 in the college football playoff ranking, but we are amongst the top programs in the entire country.
Absolutely.
And I think that people need to take a step back and remember that, because we've come a long way in a very short period of time, and I'm very appreciative of all of the folks that have helped us along the way to get there. And guess what? Knightline is a big part of that too. So thank you guys for what you do.
Thank you very much for supporting us, man. I really appreciate it. Thanks for calling. It's good to hear from you. I was a little worried that we didn't hear from you last week. So, all right.
I was not in a position to call, unfortunately, and you guys have been saying that you wanted to hear from some new people, so I've been trying to take a step back.
It is true. It's nice to hear from new people, but then again, it's nice to hear from our regulars as well. So I will never ever say that I don't want to hear from our regulars, but it is awesome to hear from new people. So I think there's people that are afraid to call or something, but there's 2 people that are behind you that are not. So I'm going to let you go and continue with the calls. Thank you for calling, man. Appreciate it.
Go Knights.
All right, charge on. All right, awesome. We got phone calls. This is great. Again, if you're just tuning in, this is Knightline Postgame Live, 407-401-9184, 407-401-9184. Coming to you from the UCF campus, Burger U. Great place for burgers. It wouldn't be called Burger U if the burgers were not absolutely awesome. They got cold beer, they got wings, they got fries, they got all kinds. I'm looking over here, this guy's eating a grilled cheese, I think. It looks good. They got all kinds of stuff. So definitely come and support Burger U if you can. I'm going to take this phone call here real quick. Hey, you're on Knightline. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Travis.
Hey, man. What's going on? Travis Dever.
Not much, man. We're up here in Philly, and it's a little loud. We're at the Xfinity Party. I don't know what it is. Right next to Lincoln Field, and the ice skating rink for the Flyers game just got done, and it's a little loud.
So what do you think of the game?
I thought our defense finally showed up. They really just shut them down. It looked great.
Right on, yeah. I mean, shock and awe again. That's what I was looking for. I was looking for shock and awe to come back. I gave them that title early in the season, and I hadn't seen it for a while, so I was kind of getting worried that I maybe gave them the wrong name or something, but it definitely came back today.
I mean, it was clear. I mean, that defense stood up, and then about the third quarter, they kind of let loose, and a lot of the second-string guys came in. It was just a dominant game. Second-string offense probably didn't look as good as normal, but they're allowed to have an off game when you're up by 30.
Yeah, so on TV, the stands didn't look very full. What was the environment like there at the Temple game today?
It was. Well, I think there might have been more UCF people here than Temple people.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, it was horrible to be honest. But the UCF crowd showed up. They had a lot of fun. We've seen them out in Philly last night and today. So, hey, as long as we show up, that's all that matters.
Absolutely. Well, Night Nation definitely travels very, very well, and it's great to see all those UCF fans in the stands and making I can't think of the word now. Anyway,
it made it fun.
Yeah,
it made it fun. I mean,
there you go.
We had a lot of Temple people sitting amongst us, but they were pretty cool. I think Philly fans get a bad rap, but they were all real nice. We had a great game. We had a good time, and sat near the Griffins, and they had a blast watching. There was some great plays out there by him and his defense. So
I hope you told them hi for me after you texted me saying you were sitting with them. So
I did. They actually told me to send. They asked you to send some warm weather up here because it was about 46 degrees and raining and cold and windy. So
that's football weather, man. That's football weather everywhere except in Florida. All right, man, I'm going to let you go. We got other callers. Thank you for calling. Thank you very much for everything that you do for us, man. I really appreciate it.
All right. See you guys later. Thank you.
Take it easy. All right, that was Travis Dever, the Dever team. If you're looking for real estate, by the way, Travis Dever and the Dever team can help you, especially in the new Smyrna Beach area. There are wonderful places out there in pretty much everybody's budget in New Smyrna Beach. So definitely get a hold of Travis Dever. And you've heard him on here a lot. You hear his commercial all the time. So definitely call him if you're looking for something in New Smyrna Beach. Going to go to the phones again. Hey, you're on Knightline. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Stefan from Oviedo.
Hey, Stefan. What do you think?
Yeah, I am. Overall, I'd have to say that I'm pretty happy. I definitely enjoyed the game. It was nice to actually have a game where the offense was clicking. They were kind of struggling in the beginning, but once they figured it out, they looked pretty good. So I was definitely happy. Kind of concerned about the defense. The third down efficiency, they did a pretty good job stopping them on third down, but they got 4 out of 5 fourth down efficiency. So, they seemed to be pretty effective. And then eventually, we as the game went on, the defense seemed to pick things up a little bit. Super stoked about the interception by Griffin. That was pretty awesome there. If that isn't a sports center, as soon as he did it, I could hear in my head, da-na-na, da-na-na. And so I'm like, yeah. Overall, I was pretty happy. There was a couple things in there that, that I thought were garbage. Like, I definitely thought that targeting penalty for that other team. I know, hey, the other guy got taken out, but that was a garbage call. I didn't see
I've
it.
never seen. Okay, here's the deal. I don't say a lot about this, but I think targeting is total crap. That's as nice as I can say it. I'm not a fan of that penalty at all. And that one, I watched the replay just like everybody else did over and over and over again. And I didn't see anything there that was even close to targeting. I don't understand how they were able to get away with that and how they called that. I mean, yes, it's a momentum change, and that helped us out, but I didn't see targeting there. It's crazy. I just want to get back to playing football, and we're not playing flag football. It's going to turn out to be that at some point, though. I mean, maybe 20 years down the line, maybe they won't even put on helmets and pads anymore. It's getting to that point, and it's ridiculous because there's no reason for what that kid did for him to be, put out of the game and not be able to play. Especially, I don't know if he was an underclassman. I don't know anything about that kid, but if he was a senior and this was his senior game in front of his, home crowd, that's unfair to that player, honestly.
Yeah, I have to echo your sentiment. I was reading somewhere on the forum, I don't know if somebody was there, but they said that they saw that he hit him in the head with his elbow or something prior to. So I can't say whether that did or didn't happen because you couldn't see it on the camera. But, it didn't look like it was egregious. And I know that that's not necessarily any kind of a barometer or whatever, but I don't know. Just from what I saw, it was. I know he's not our player, and and it helped us out, but I just think it was a garbage call. There was a couple. Overall, they didn't throw a whole lot of flags, which is kind of nice. That we didn't have too many penalties. We still had 7 penalties, but they weren't really costly penalties. But so the refs kept the flags in their pockets, but there were a couple where they, definitely like pass interference or holding and stuff like that. And so they had some stupid calls, and there's some other areas where they didn't call. So I'd say that, it was kind of like inconsistent reffing.
Right. It was nice to not have to play the referees as well as the other team, though, this time. Because,
absolutely.
We've definitely had some games like that, and I think that's a lot of the reason for some of these penalties. They're looking at us closer than everybody else for some reason, and I guess, I don't know. But that's good. It's good that we had a few less today, and, it's never really worried me with the efficiency of this offense. The penalties, they haven't come to bite us yet, and I guess that's where it doesn't bother me. Once they bite us, I guess, then it bothers me.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to say that one team to the next is not really a big of a deal. I was looking at the stats, Temple's a lot better than they were at the beginning of the year, and so USF was able to hold. USF has a little bit better defense, and so they were able to hold them down to 7 points and a heck of a lot less yards. I think their total yards was under 100, and so I know that we had the second team come in there, so they were able to rack up a bunch of yards and some garbage time points, blah blah blah. But with that being said, I was concerned. I felt like the team was maybe going backwards a little bit, as each game went on. But it seems like from last week to this week, and the way the overall appearance of the team looked, it looked like we had a new bit of energy. They didn't sleep on this game, which is good, and it wasn't like they were looking forward, because if you watch the USF game, they look like crap.
Right.
So they might have been looking forward, and so I feel a lot better coming out of this game going into next week. I really do.
Absolutely. Well, what I can tell you about rivalry games is you can throw all of the rest of everything out of the window, and I've been saying for a couple weeks that we've been playing down to competition, and I've actually talked to a couple players that in a way have said that. They haven't, said that in exactly those words, but that they take it easy sometimes. They don't want to get hurt, and they want to continue their season just like, we want them to. So teams definitely play down to competition. I don't know that that's what's been happening with the Cows. I think that maybe that, that's who they are, and I don't think they're playing down. I think it's going to be a good game, but I really think that we're going to come out on top, and it's going to be a wonderful thing, and we can continue this run into a bowl game and hopefully continue the win streak into next year. Keep getting ranked, be ranked in that preseason poll, and the sky is the limit, to be honest with you, if that happens. So, and I think that every single player will be up for the game next week. I don't think there's one person that's going to be taking anything easy.
No.
It's a rivalry game.
It's going to be, the team's going to be jacked. And I imagine it's going to be a sellout crowd. I haven't seen anything yet specifically stating that it was a sellout, but
I heard there were 76 tickets left, the last that I saw. So I'm sure
many?
76.
Okay.
I'm sure 76 people will be buying those tickets after this win. Maybe they were waiting to see. I cannot still believe that the stadium is not sold out for every game. I can't believe it. I personally can't. And I don't understand it. Because
I could see Boston P not getting sold out, or maybe UConn or whatever. I can't necessarily justify it, but I can see it not happening.
Right.
People keep talking about what do we need to do to sell out games. Well, we have a fair weather fan base, obviously, and we have a very young fan base, which contributes to the fair weather fan base, and it seems like the only time we sell out is when it has nothing to do with the team. It has everything to do with the opponent. So
right, and it's not only us. It's not only us. If you look at other stadiums, you look at that Temple Stadium today. Now it's a much bigger stadium. That's an NFL stadium.
Yeah.
But if you look at the games that you watch on TV, they're purposely not showing the stands in a lot of those, just because.
Yeah. Big teams too. Power 5 teams.
Absolutely.
I'm
SEC teams. There's some that aren't completely full.
I firmly believe this. I truly do. You got a lot of teams out there, these Vanderbilts and no offense, your team Kentucky and these different teams. I'm sorry, Kansas. They've been. I apologize.
That's all right.
They've been around for forever. Some of them over 100 years.
Absolutely.
And they have the luxury of receiving money in these Power 5 conferences, but they are clearly the bottom dwellers of those conferences. UCF is, we've only been around for a small subset of time and been playing D1 football for 21 years. If you were to take UCF and pluck one of those guys out and put us in there, we would vault to the top of any of those Power 5 conferences, because we are, I believe, better than a majority of the bottom dweller Power 5 schools with a fraction of the amount of money that they receive. Give us that same money, and we'll be competing with the Michigans and the Ohio States and all that. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind, because you're going to bring in a different type of player, the ones that say, oh, quote unquote, I'm going to a Power 5 school. We would definitely compete with Florida and UF and Miami every single year as far as the best team in the state. Absolutely no doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind whatsoever.
I agree with you. I agree completely. So
that's what it takes to get people in the stands. It's playing different competition. It's unfortunate. It's going to take age, and what I mean by age is I mean maturity of the audience. The longer you're a UCF fan, the more money you're going to have in your pocket, the more likelihood that you're going to get in the stands. But while our fan base is still young, it's just not there. And the only way you're going to get it there is to play better teams at home.
Absolutely.
That's the only other way.
All right, man. Thank you for calling. Greatly appreciate it.
No worries.
We're going to take a little break here,
worries.
and then Trace is going to join us on the end of this commercial. All righty? Thanks for calling, man.
All right. Go Knight.
Charge on. Oh, and of course, my computer. A little pause here. We're still going to do a commercial. Back in a second. You've heard us talk about the great food at our good friend Kyle Israel's restaurant, The Little Greek Fresh Grill. The Little Greek now has franchises available. Please call 407-697-2272. That's 407-697-2272 to see what The Little Greek can do for you. Also check out The Little Greek's newest location at 3131 Daniels Road, Suite 104, Winter Garden, Florida. The Little Greek Fresh Grill. Fresh, flavorful, fabulous. All right, Knightline back at UCF, at Burger U on the campus of UCF. Knightline postgame live. Joining us now, Trace is back from the basketball game. What'd you find out over there?
Well, was able to catch the second half after watching the football game here at Burger U. UCF with a 75-64 win over William and Mary to move to 3-0. Taco Fall back. And another injury, but we've got a call. We'll talk about that in just a second.
Yeah, let's take this call, and then we'll get back to basketball. Hey, you're on Knightline. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Andrew, it's Carson. What's up, man? Philadelphia.
How you doing?
Apparently.
Carson Engel,
great,
everyone.
Man.
Carson Engel.
What a great win. What a great win.
Yeah, what's your analysis of the win today? What do you like the best?
I think what I liked the best is that I thought that we got back on track. I thought that this was as close to, sort of a max performance as you could expect. Sure, we could go through and nitpick certain things here and there, but it was a lot more kind of pedal to the metal. There was no get up. And I loved the turnovers that we were able to create. And I thought that was a really good sign heading into next week against USF.
You've been on quite a few road games. What was your sense of Knight Nation as it took over Philadelphia?
Well, it just kind of seems like it's getting bigger and bigger for every game, and as this team goes undefeated, and certainly that's something that keeps me going, and that keeps me going on these things. But I feel like that's also something that keeps everybody else going. And I mean, we had the one tailgate here that was kind of run by Chez, who his daughter played tennis at UCF, and then we had the alumni club tailgate, which was sort of dominated by the UCF alumni club in New York, and that was unbelievable. And their presence was certainly huge today. I mean, I couldn't believe how many people, guys, drove down here, took the bus down here from New York. It was super impressive, and I mean, there was no question that. People can criticize the attendance at home and all of that stuff. I think we have a great home attendance, and I certainly think we have a great core group of fans. And there's no question to me that we have the best road in terms of visiting fans in the American Conference. From what I've seen of fans coming into our place, and certainly what I've seen of our fans going on the road.
Well, it doesn't get any bigger than this. Black Friday showdown with the Cows. Set the stage for us. What are you looking for? What will UCF have to do in that 60 minutes of football to win the East and host the American Athletic Conference title game just 8 days later here in Orlando?
Yeah, I mean, a huge game, and a game that, you kind of feel like UCF is much better equipped to handling. I don't think USF is a well-coached team. I mean, I've not been a fan of Charlie Strong throughout his entire coaching career. I don't think there's anything that we've seen in a year at USF that would prove otherwise. For them, it's contain Quentin Flowers and don't make your own mistakes. And if they do that, I feel like they win easily. I mean, I think USF has talent on their roster. Don't get me wrong. Like, I think they have talent on both sides of the ball, but I don't see the complete kind of ball club that UCF has going right into it. So if you don't make mistakes, if you're UCF, and again, you're able to contain that kind of running threat of Quentin Flowers, I think you're able to win this game by a couple scores.
It sounds good, man. All right, safe travels. We'll see you when you get back here.
Absolutely, guys. Glad to call in with you.
All right, take it easy. Thank you for calling. Really appreciate it. All right, a little bit of basketball before this phone rings
this
again.
Injury bug has continued to be a problem.
So,
you get Taco Fall back. He has 13 points, but guard Terrell Allen goes down with a bit of a hip situation. Of course, it sets the stage for this Thanksgiving Classic out at the Mouse House. And who is UCF's opponent Thursday at 6 on Thanksgiving Day? Nebraska. I wonder if we'll see their troll fans descend upon Disney. They're obviously going to be there to see their basketball club, but we'll get an opportunity to rub it in their face a bit.
We have talked about that a little bit today. Of course, we're going to talk a little bit about that, the Scott Frost thing and Nebraska
it's not going to
go
away.
And all that stuff. It's not going away.
But that's what comes with being 10-0.
Right, absolutely. Let's take this call real quick. Hey, you're on Knightline. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Andrew from Oviedo.
Hey, man, what's going on? What was your take on the game today?
This was a much more comfortable win than last week. Almost complete dominance by the defense, especially Shaquem Griffin.
Absolutely. I would call it complete dominance, honestly. I mean, we let them score the 19 points or whatever that they scored, but the one obviously coming in garbage time, which, any of those things when we have our third and fourth string players in there, I don't give that much of a thought, to be honest with you. Yes, I mean, I don't know. Maybe we would have liked to keep them not scoring at all. We don't do a lot of shutouts. We're a bend, don't break defense, and, but definitely shock and awe was back today.
Very comforting to see the defense I knew that we had show up.
Where do you think the team is going into this Black Friday showdown with the Cows? Is it something that concerns you, or after watching them for 10 games, do you like where you see the Knights going into that game?
I definitely like where we're seeing how we ended the game. Definitely with our momentum and how dominant we've played, offense and defense. I mean, McKenzie had a fantastic game. I don't exactly know his numbers, but I mean, I think he threw at least 3-4 TDs.
4 touchdowns with 1 on the ground. And 3 quarters, not even full 3 quarters of play. If you tally up the amount of quarters that this guy has played, right, he's given way to the backup quarterback, Noah Vedral, multiple games with a full quarter to go or into the third.
Yeah, so I think our team is riding high. Definitely a good boost of confidence going into that Black Friday game.
All righty. Hey, thanks for your call. I really appreciate it.
All right, take care.
Go Knights.
All righty, well, final couple of minutes here.
What do you think the line is going to be established at when this comes out, which we may have on our next all-new Knightline? As you think about that, we have Kyle Israel, we'll have Nick Patty, we're going to have basketball as well. We'll post on Twitter and Facebook Sunday early in the day, Ask Knightline. You can start sending those questions in, and you can pose them for Nick or for Kyle or for us, as well as our basketball insider. Things going well, huh? This is a pretty good doubleheader today. Football wins at noon, basketball wins late in the afternoon.
Right. I mean, it's. Are you getting tired of winning yet?
No.
At UCF?
No.
I'm not getting tired of winning either.
No.
I love it. So
I feel more comfortable having watched both games, the Cows game on Thursday night with Tulsa, which they really struggled, and this is not a good Tulsa team. The Cows have much more talented athletes, but they were certainly uninspired and flat. Maybe that was a bit of a trap game for them. They didn't look the part. I still think it comes down to whether we can contain Quentin Flowers.
Well,
he is the entire, as he goes, so goes that team. Nothing I saw on defense from them particularly impressed me.
If you look at this, I refer to this matchup predictor on ESPN.com a lot because I like it, and it's through all of their analytics and everything that they get these numbers. Right now, we are a 77.2% chance to win that game against USF. That's a lot.
If they were to come in here and win that Black Friday showdown, why will it have happened? What will have gone wrong for UCF that will have allowed them to come out of here with a W?
I don't think that they can score the amount of points that it would take to win this game, even if we get into a shootout. I just don't think that they can do it. They haven't done it all year.
We keep predicting what happens when UCF gets into the shootout. We thought that
and nobody
we might
can
see
do
it. We thought we might see it with Memphis.
Right.
Remember, Memphis had beaten UCLA in a big shootout.
Right.
We thought we might see it with SMU.
Right.
We've yet to see that.
That's the closest that they ever came to getting into a shootout was that SMU game, and it didn't happen because we kept scoring.
They scored 45 today, 49 last week, and it doesn't even feel like they did that. And you feel like if they played 60 full minutes with all of their array of offensive stars, 60 plus every week, no matter the opponent.
I know. There's no stopping this team. I don't think there's any ceiling, and I don't think that there's any stopping this team.
Well, I don't know where it was, but Memphis was up on SMU something like 59-38 with much of the fourth quarter to go after a weather delay. And I don't want to do what I did all week, which quite honestly, I looked past Temple and looked ahead to that Black Friday showdown. So I don't want to be thinking ahead to a rematch with Memphis just yet. They give up a lot of points.
Yeah.
By the way, it was 40-7.
Yeah.
When they got a last-moment touchdown to put up 13 on UCF. And
Memphis ended up 66-45.
But they gave 45 points to SMU.
Right. We're not giving 45 points to anybody.
And even if we do give 45 points, don't you feel like that's a 48-45 win, a 49-45, a 52-45?
And also, that Memphis team knows that they were demoralized here. That was shock and awe that was going on then. Shock and awe is back, and it's back to stay as far as I'm concerned. This defense is on point again. I don't think we have anything to worry about personally, but we will talk about this.
Yeah, we got more to talk about.
We will talk about this.
And I know you talked about Shaquem Griffin, but if you have not yet, please read the Sports Illustrated article on him. To get to talk to this young man as we have and as you have with his family, what a special young man. Knights fans, this is a 10-0 ranked team. You're seeing future NFL star and Trylko Smith. You see Shaquem Griffin with heart like no one else on this team. He inspires. Enjoy this ride.
You're making me teary.
Yeah, there we go.
Because next week is senior, day.
Oh, my goodness. We're going to say goodbye to so many great seniors. There's more work to be done in this season, by the way. Black Friday, AAC title game, bowl game on New Year's Day. There's more work to be done. We still have 3 important games left as far as I'm concerned.
Yep. All right. Well, that's our time for today. Thank you for calling in. Thank you for listening. I'm Andrew Phegley.
I'm Trace Trylko. Go Knights.
Charge on.
With our spirits we'll never yield. Black and gold charge right through the line. Victory is our cry, B-S-E-T-O-R.